Well, hello everybody. Welcome to another one of those dramatic entrances. The jingle. I was debating whether or not to even skip it because we only have about 25 minutes here today to unload this information on you. But anyway, welcome to the show. James Ring here, and today we're doing another little promo for the Montauk tour that's coming up August 10th through the 15th. And today we have Alandra Markman here. So Alandra has been on the show before. Hi, Alandra. Thanks for coming on here. So Alandra will be coming on this tour. He's actually has done tours in the past in Montauk, New York area. So we are looking to get a shared Airbnb booked. It's actually is booked, but we need money to pay the other half of it. So we need to raise about $6,000. So we have 6 spots right now, $1,000 a head at the house. You get your own bed. And a shared home right near the beach, near Montauk. So Alandra Markman is a spiritual ascension guide, I guess he was living in New Orleans. He's no longer there. He's a survivor of the most advanced torture of our galaxy, including the Montauk Project, which violently split his perception into dozens of simultaneous timelines. He was enslaved by the Satanic shadow government of Earth by many negative ET beings. His entire identity was wiped out multiple times throughout timeline manipulation, genetic tampering, holographic inserts, and sadistic behavioral conditioning. He has thankfully retained a reasonable sense of sanity, partly because of assistance from positive ET groups. He is now continuously aware of parallel existences, other dimensions, and the many divergent realities within each moment. He has reptilian DNA from the Saurians of Bellatrix Orion, a parallel life with the Greys of Mintaka, and a large hybrid family with the Zeta Reticulan Greys. He also carries DNA from ascended humans of Sirius B and helps to balance dark energies from the Sirian planet Nibiru. Within our solar system, he's associated with Ra and the ascended beings of Venus. His future self lies on a planet Mordurus around the star of Antares B, assists his present life as a translator of creative thought and harmonizer of psycho-emotional frequencies. So I got his email here, Alandra@riseup.net. So you can also check out his Instagram handle. How are you, Alandra? How are you doing today?
James, it's been a while. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for coming on here short notice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And so what else do you want to add to your bio that I might have missed?
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about that. I mean, I wrote that. It's been like 3 years or something at least. So, uh, I mean, I still like it. Still applies. Um, I'm feeling a lot of fresh energy for myself because I recently had a gag order expire with Air Force intelligence. So I'm now free to talk about a whole bunch of other stuff that I wasn't able to talk about before. So that's pretty exciting for
Oh
me.
wow,
But
awesome.
yeah, but yeah,
Uh,
but I
well,
do want to, yeah, but so that's teaser. But I do want to stay focused on the Montauk trip. I'm really excited for it.
okay. Um, yeah. Well, I don't think you ever told me you were in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were like involved. What was your job or duty?
I did a lot of things. I was mostly a navigator. Um, yeah, I would help ships find their place in space and time and dimensional level.
Oh wow. Oh wow. Well, okay. So I like to know more, but our time is limited. So I tell you what, we will maybe we'll when we get you out to Montauk, you can share more about it. On one more.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So in the meanwhile, let's go back to our Montauk adventure. So let's see here. Why don't you tell us about when you were last there? What did you do on this tour that you did?
Yeah. So I led a group of people there, mostly friends, in 2020. Um, yeah, I flew out to New York City. I'm living in Seattle now, so it's quite a ways for me. But oh, actually, no. At the time, I actually drove. It was a big road trip because I had my car in New York, and I just loaded up with friends, allies. I didn't have any other survivors going with me, so this is going to be a very different kind of trip because it's going to be mostly survivors like you and me. But yeah, I brought 5 non-survivors in my car. We just drove out. It's about 3 hours from New York to Montauk. And I did a similar thing. You know, I rented a little suite, and we just stayed there for a couple days. We went to the Montauk site. We did a meditation there. We did a lot of exploring around the grounds, and it was very healing for me. Yeah, I got a lot out of it. Um, and yeah, just kind of caught up with myself. Um, you know, just seeing it from an adult perspective is completely different, you know, and also from a free person perspective. So, you know, everything just seemed kind of smaller and less threatening. So that was pretty empowering. Um, and yeah, we went over to the grounds and over to the lighthouse and around Camp Hero, and um, I don't know, it was just really good. I felt really supported in that moment. I also did a broadcast of one of the meditations. I have regular Zoom meditation groups, so I did a broadcast from the hotel suite that we were staying at, and it was really rich. I think it was a powerful experience for everybody that was there. Yeah.
Nice. All right, let me share a screen here. Okay, so here we have. Can you see my screen
Hmm.
map? Okay, so this everybody. So this is where Montauk is. Okay, here on the Eastern Seaboard. For those of you who don't know, so we're gonna go over here. Got rent a house in the area. So where are some of the spots that you want to look at? At least on your last tour, what are some places that you saw?
Well, obviously, the place of most interest to survivors is going to be the area around Camp Hero, because that's where we spent years and years of our lives, you know, sometimes decades of our lives. So that's kind of the obvious draw. Um, yeah, this you're centering on the radar tower there, which is one of the most obvious features. Some of the bunkers are also kind of interesting. I mean, the whole land around there, as you've said before, and I've probably said on your show, there are underground complexes stretching throughout the area. So the land all around there is really hungry for just cleansing and blessing and, you know, positive attention, to clear some of that karma. So that's what I'm most interested in. I mean, I want to do some karma clearing. I want to do some soul retrieval, you know, spiritual healing work. That's what I'm mostly there for. And maybe some creative purposes as well. Oh, actually, I don't know where it is. I have a drawing that one of the participants made from my Montauk trip in 2020. She made a little drawing of the radar tower. Wonder if I can find that.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Okay,
so
so
mostly creative things.
we're gonna bring some teams of people here over to Camp Hero, and maybe we'll walk around the beaches. I think years ago I might have read it or somebody emailed me, said they were walking along these beaches, and one of the sides of the cliffs opened up, and like a door opened, and it was like covered with a hologram. So um, I'm not sure what went in or out of there. Do you have any information on that, Alandra? Any reports around the cliffs, the doors opening, like covered
Um,
by holograms?
well, at the time I was there, there wasn't too much of that. I mean, they were still using um, physical camouflage. A lot of the holographic camouflage hadn't really come into use so much. So I'm not probably the best person to speak about that. Because that for me, that's sort of like a later thing. That started coming in mostly in the 80s and 90s. And I was there in the 70s. So it was a little bit different, but I definitely believe it. I don't have any special information about it.
Understood. Okay. We're also going to bring in Archon Raw's coming. So he's a experiencer at Montauk. Of course, Alondra. He spent how many years were you? Do you recall if you have that information? How many years do you think you were stuck there?
Well, yeah, initially 8 years, um, and then it gets fragmented into different timelines. But I mean, I've been in derivatives of the Montauk project for most of my life. You know, just to say the project doesn't begin and end at Montauk, it's all over the world. And it plays into the places basically everywhere I've lived since then, Like I currently live in Seattle, Washington. There's a branch of the Montauk Project here. And I've been very, unfortunately, very involved with a lot of those spin-offs and sister projects, and it's a very wide network. So just to make that clear, but yeah, I was actually at the Montauk site for about 8 years.
So, Alandra, was your consciousness like projected into another clone body? So, like you're here now talking to me, but you're also over there. Is that how this works for you, anyway?
That does happen, but no, I'm being more literal. For me, Montauk was just the beginning of many decades of experiences in different places. To this day, I mean, I'm still dealing with those energies now as a free person, thankfully, now. But yeah, I mean, it still affects my life to this day, and I'm still working with those energies today.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, in your previous interview, I know you mentioned you were sent back in time to the Merovingians dynasty, where
Yeah.
you had to service them, quotation marks. But
Mhm.
so uh, w- uh, that's example at least at Montauk. So, what are some of the things that you did in the other branches of Montauk?
Yeah, you're bringing up. I was brought back to, yeah, participate in satanic rituals with some of my physical ancestors in medieval France. That was one of the things. Um, I was brought to a lot of different places in time and space throughout my time there. Um, some of my work was in Siberia, in Eastern Russia. I was brought there quite a bit. Um, there are some of the most ancient centers of Christianity and the basis of the Eastern Orthodox Russian Church um, are in far eastern Russia. That was another notable place that I was brought to geographically. A lot of this is tied in with some of the very formative locations for Christianity and some other world religions and spiritual heritage um, sites and traditions. But there was particular emphasis on the Christian for me. So I was brought to a lot of places that are basically holy sites for some of the European monarchy or for the Catholic Church. Yeah.
So, Alondra, do you have memories of Preston Nichols and Duncan Cameron,
Oh yeah, for
Al
sure.
Balick?
Yeah, I think we talked about this a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, I met them all. Duncan was my favorite. He was the most consistently kind to me, and he was the only one who seemed to be really of the adults. You know, he was the only one that seemed to be kind of awake and aware a little bit. Most of the adults were just clearly asleep. You know, any part of them that was had their conscience awake was basically asleep at Camp Hero. So um, I really liked Duncan because he was able to keep at least part of himself awake most of the time, and that showed, in his kindness and compassion with us. I really appreciated that. Yeah, Preston was an absolute monster. I mean, at the site, I respect his writing and what his different, he has good and bad alters as most of us do. But when we were actually at Montauk, I just feared and hated him. I didn't really want to relate to him very much. Um, Al Bielek, he's a funny one because, well, as he says, he's gone through that whole transition from being another person, just like me. So, so he's a complicated one. Um, I didn't really know him on site too much. I did cross paths with him a few times, but I never really developed any kind of relationship with him. I got to know him later on as a free person through his videos, and he was one of the first people I heard besides myself talking about Ontarians, and those are a very important ET group to me. And he was talking about them, so I really appreciated that.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you have a lot of recall. Do you have memories of going to the future?
Absolutely, that was part of the point of the project, past and future. Um, yeah, I mean, we went to. they were trying to get us to go into darker timelines. And so a lot of the future places that I visited, I'm hoping will never exist. You know, that's the short version. We went into some places where, you know, really terrible things had happened, like cyborgs had taken over the Earth. You know, there'd been nuclear holocausts, like very, very bad outcomes. But as far as I'm aware, like a lot of those futures are not actually going to manifest. You know, they're it's very tricky because they're infinite versions of the past and the future to go into, which is one of the first things that a Montauk survival will probably tell you. So basically, I'm working and hoping to manifest some futures that are very different from the futures that I experienced there. So I don't even want to like validate those as being something real necessarily. But I did go into some really dark places.
Okay, understood. All right. And so, tell us more about how many branches of the so-called, because the first one initially was supposedly shut down in 1983. That's
Mhm.
where the Montauk monster was manifested. And so,
Yeah,
how many? Once they shut that down, I mean, allegedly they went to Brookhaven. But what can you tell us about the history of, I guess, Montauk 2.0, and how many
yeah,
branches are
sure.
there?
Yeah, they went all over the world. Some of the biggest sites, well, most of the operations were transferred to Western Europe, specifically Switzerland, um, after '83. So that's where I was aware of a lot of the resources going. Um, I was actually thinking about this recently. It's pretty easy to find the Montauk sites because they're usually near um, particle accelerators, specifically Large Hadron Colliders, such as you had at Brookhaven Labs. And that's part of how the technology works. Those particle accelerators, which are, you know, which are public knowledge, which are available to the scientific community, um, also serve a purpose to fuel the technology that's being used at the Montauk sites. So it's pretty easy to find them. If you just look for Large Hadron Colliders, you know, around the world, there's usually a Montauk site nearby. So one of those is in Switzerland. There's one outside of Chicago. And you can just see them on the map because that's public information, you know, where the particle colliders are. And those will be the major Montauk sites. There are also a lot of minor sites with different types of technology at work. Um, you recently had John Whitberg on your show, and I really liked his show. He was talking about some of the other sites, like the decommissioned naval base in New Orleans, which is functioning as a Montauk site, and the area under the Space Needle in Seattle. I really appreciated those being named. Um, so yeah, there are major and minor sites, and the major ones are usually near a particle accelerator.
Wow, understood.
Mhm.
So when we're out there, maybe we can drive by Brookhaven. There is a invite form to get there, but you have to be like of academia, so or a reason to go there. So I don't think they're going to let us tour it. But we may actually have an opportunity to go to the Nikola Tesla Museum.
Mm.
Just to mention that. There was also mentioned possibly visiting maybe the Pendar winery, maybe to transmute it. I don't know. I think that's one of the Rothschilds winery.
Mm.
Um, I'll let you, Alandra. I know you told me you don't drink, but
I
let's
don't.
see here. We could also visit. Let's see here. There'll be a lot of hiking trails, so bring your hiking boots. And also, the U.S. is the Eldridge. I think that was the other really thing I didn't even mention yet. The Eldridge is due to reappear, so there's a portal there. Why, Alandra, do you know anything about? Can you discuss about the portal that opens up every 20 years on that particular day,
Yeah,
August 12th of
yeah. Well,
2023?
I know a little bit about this. There's basically a massive karmic wave. It's There's a time distortion that's been created through the Montauk Project, and it's particularly pronounced on the years ending in three. So it's on this. It's a minor cycle. Every 10 years is a minor return, and every 20 years is a major return. So this is actually very personally relevant for me because I got free of the secret space programs in 2003 at the last major point in the cycle. And then 2013 was also a major year of transformation for me when I started getting a lot of memories back. And here we are in 2023. And that has really been true for me. Like you mentioned earlier that the project shut down in 1983. That was not random. That's part of this karmic wave moving through time. And it's easily trackable just by looking at the year. So 83, 93, etc. Yeah, and that's very tied in with the Eldridge. I don't have as much experience, like I haven't actually been on board the ship because it was kind of a separate project from the main Montauk project. But I do know that it's very attached to that cycle, and there is a possibility of it phasing back into this reality. So, I mean, I guess I can just talk about it. Probably your viewers know about this a little bit, but before the Montauk project happened, there was what they call the Philadelphia experiment, which is where they sent this naval ship, the USS Eldridge. They sent it through time and space. It was supposed to be an experiment to make it invisible to radar, but yeah, basically what they were doing was working with time travel. And so this ship is phasing in and out of our plane of reality, and a very short time passes for them and a very long time passes for us. So it might be just a few minutes or an hour for them. They come back and it's 10 years later here, you know. And so there are still people on this ship from the original Philadelphia experiment who are coming in and out of our plane of reality, and it's tied in with these years ending in 3. Again, I don't want to speak too much on that because I don't have a lot of personal experience with the ship itself, but I'm definitely aware of this, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it.
Thanks. So this was this actually, I just found out about this. This was the last time the portal opened up. There was a blackout on August 14th, so it's August 12th. But I think the portal might actually be staying open for a little bit longer, or maybe the portal doesn't open exactly on the 12th. But yeah, so we might see some strange activity. Maybe the Montauk monster might show up, but we'll have a group of people out there, including like Alandra. We're going to try to transmute the energies and the people lost in time and the time portals, the tunnels, hyperspace. So I want to share. You have a comment about that? Because I'm gonna.
No, I really support that mission, and yeah, I think the blackout was probably related.
So I had an artist put this together. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So you were the other boy there with me, but the artist drew me. There's a planet about 200 years into the future. If we ever got lost in hyperspace, we were instructed to go to this world. And I don't know if you encountered Click. Did you encounter Click
I did.
too?
Yeah, and I brought this up. I called this the control point in my interview. This was the place they would keep sending us back to when we got lost. So yeah, I'm very familiar with this place.
So Click is a sentient AI from about roughly 800 years from our future, from our perspective. And Click, this likes to is a what you call maybe an archetype of the AI that wants to represent as a mother. And this AI is monitoring the timelines because, unlike other AI, she wants the best. She wants people to be happy. She wants everyone to be happy. That's why she's took on a feminine type aspect. So Click was sent back in time to communicate with us when we were at this waypoint, and I believe we got some kind of nanites or something put into us so that when we went back to Montauk, we exposed the rest of the crew there. So that way they were Click, or the mother AI, was monitoring what was taking place there to counteract, I think, was my opinion. Anything else you want to add to that one?
No, I appreciate you bringing it up again. I mean, I see it's a very powerful experience for you, and it resonates strongly for me too. I mean, the positive AI was very important, and with all these things where these evil groups are working in these very organized ways, there are always good groups that are doing this as well. So, and yeah, and this click being the mantid beings in general, but in particular the AI ones, are also very meaningful for me. I'm very grateful for their interactions with the project and with me personally.
Okay. we got maybe 6 more minutes, so we'll just answer this quick question. Arclight was, what can you tell us about the Montauk monster? What do you know, and what do you know about it?
Well, it's a manifestation from what you could call hyperspace or subspace. I mean, they described it pretty well in the books, so I don't know if I'm going to add much to that. Um, it was kind of just a karmic manifestation of all the evil they were doing, kind of coming back to bite them, very literally in this case. So I don't know. That's
okay.
all I
Thank
got.
you.
Yeah.
All right. Let me go ahead and share this. I know it's okay. Hold on. This is not. Let me pull this over. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a link in the description. It has some more information about the area. So we try to doing a shared Airbnb because hotels are $750 a night that particular weekend. The portal is supposed to open up in the area, and so we're also going to let's see here. The goal is to be able to provide some meals for you inside the house, so you don't have to go to restaurants all the time. But we're going to try to give everybody that at least pays money going to at least have your own bed, so you won't have to worry about, because some people have to sleep on air mattresses. And Alandra, I think I got you on a bed, but we'll double check. And then in the meantime, yeah. So if you want to come, yeah, there, just shoot us a message. Click on this link and go press the buy now button. It'll take you to my Stripe account. It's my 501c3 nonprofit is sponsoring this event, but we possibly might have Jimmy Payne come, either a live stream or in person. Chastity Campbell is going to be there. She's a full-on trance medium. Archime Raw, I'm going to be there. Of course, you, Alandra, and we're also going to get Jessica Jones there, the Cryptus Country. Okay, sorry guys, you can't see that. You got to say something. Okay, there you go. Can you see it now? Okay. All right. And then we got yeah. So this is a little itinerary. So that's all subject to change, but there you go. So go to the website supersoldiertalk.com, click on the link, and yeah. I feel like there's so many more questions to ask you, but
Yeah, there's a lot. I could stay for a few more minutes.
Okay.
I just want to say, like, even if people are not, if you're not a survivor yourself, or if you don't have any particular resonance with Montauk, it might still be worth it to support this trip just for karmic clearing purposes. I mean, it's like a very powerful spiritual thing, I think, or that's my goal for the trip. And I think it's worth supporting. And yeah, even if you're not going, and even if you don't have necessarily personal experience with Montauk, it's probably going to be really interesting anyway, you know, and could be pretty rich experience. But do you have like a donation link or something? Do you have?
Yeah, well, if you go to my healingsoulsurvivors.org, they can go to the donate button, and yeah, I'm actually looking for somebody to send like money monthly. Only right now, I used to get like about $600 to $800 a month, and then PayPal went in there, and there was like $2,500 nonprofit account. They basically froze it, stole it, and I didn't have access. I didn't know who was donating money to it, so because they shut me out of my account, and then I set up a new one over on Stripe, but only one person is going over there and donating anything. But yeah, I'm constantly traveling all the time. I'm going to Las Vegas in September, so I need some funds for that. And also, I'm going to Florida this month, so we're going to try to maybe get Oksana on here, I'm hoping, and maybe even Jessica Jones again. So yeah, it would be great if you could help out on the trip. And ideally, we would like to also raise some funds so we can feed everybody there. So I want to do a lobster bake, possibly on the beach, because we're close to New England. We're not in New England, but it's close enough. But
yeah. Well, I also think it's worth saying also that like the money is all going just to make the trip happen, right? It's not to like get anyone to make money. I think everyone's probably losing money on this trip. And the irony of us Montauk survivors having to pay our own way to do our own healing work is just like, it's crazy. You know, it's like, there's so much cognitive dissonance with that. So I just want to honor that. It's like, even like when I went to Montauk in 2020, like I wound up losing a bunch of money on the trip, and it was like I'm still glad I went, but it's just so ironic and it kind of hurts, So it's I think it's really important for non-survivors to step up and really participate and help our society in general to address this stuff. So yeah.
I know. We need to talk to our alters about going back in time and grab some money to help support the healing process.
Yeah, maybe that too.
They kept all the money for themselves. I mean, so my records show I worked at Montauk for about 39 years. So, they looked into my future and they saw me doing this truth stuff. So they thought they could just, they put me in the trip seat multiple times, the memory wipe chair multiple times, but they gave me special treatment. Usually when they look into your future and they see what you're doing, they torture the crap out of you. And the goal is to make you mentally ill. So somehow I transmuted all that. But you know what? We're gonna push on through. It doesn't matter what they did. What matters is what we're gonna do. And we all love to see you, those who can afford it anyway, to come and or donate. So, all right, Alandra, should we wrap it up?
That seems good to me. Yeah, I have my meditation group coming up, so
Understood.
I want to get ready for that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a website now where people can contact you?
Yeah, I've had a website and such. Antarianjourneys.com, which I'm an Antarian starseed. It's a kind of unusual word, Antarean, like relating to the star Antares in the Scorpio constellation. Antarianjourneys.com is my website. Or you can just Google my name, Alandra Markman, and a bunch of stuff comes up, like my first interviews with you. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Everybody namaste. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
all right.
Namaste.
We will all see you hopefully on Montauk, and you all have a wonderful day wherever you may be. See you all later.
Bye.
Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.